So, the clitoris has long been a very mysterious organ, but the truth is, it's just as mysterious as the penis. Hi, my name is Tori, and I am a doctor of physical therapy who specializes in pelvic dysfunction, which means that I treat things that can go wrong around the pelvis, and one of the things that I treat is sexual dysfunction. I recently made a video all about the female orgasm because a question that I get asked a lot in clinic is whether or not a woman should be able to orgasm from vaginal penetration alone. And so I took to the internet and created a video all about it. A link to that video will be in the description below. Also in that video, I offered to make a different video all about women's sexual anatomy or all about the clitoris. And that video got requested, which is super exciting. So here I am making you a video all about the clitoris. Where does it come from? What's its anatomy, and what does it do? What's its function? Before we get started, I do want to say that I am still collecting anonymous data all about the female orgasm experience. So if you have female genitalia and you want to participate in my survey, it is a 3-question survey, 2 yes or no answers, 1 open-ended question. It takes about a minute to complete. A link to that survey will be in the description below as well, and I would really appreciate your input. So thank you if you choose to participate. All right, let's get into it. Let's start at the very beginning and ask the question, where does the clitoris come from? So the clitoris has long been a very mysterious organ, but the truth is it's just as mysterious as the penis. After watching this video, I think you'll agree with me. The real question isn't what is the clitoris? The real question is the clitoris a small penis, or is the penis a very large clitoris? So to understand where the clitoris and the penis come from, we have to rewind and look at embryological development. And embryological development is just looking at a baby as it grows from a cluster of cells to a full baby inside of its mom's uterus. So if we look at embryological development, the clitoris and the penis come from the exact same developmental tissue. Now, just to remind you, developmentally, the difference between a man and a woman is a chromosome. Men have the XY chromosomes and women have the XX chromosomes. So around 8 weeks of development or so, the expression of that Y chromosome, aka if you have a male baby growing, the expression of that Y chromosome is going to cause that developmental tissue to grow into a penis. Whereas if you have a lack of a Y chromosome, aka you have 2 X's, you're a female baby, well then that same developmental tissue that would have grown into a penis is going to grow into a clitoris. So again, the penis and the clitoris come from the exact same developmental tissue. Structures that originate from the same developmental tissue are called homologs, and the clitoris and the penis aren't the only example. I think an example that is really familiar to all of us would be the nipple. Nipples serve a really clear purpose in females. They produce milk so that we can breastfeed babies. This is essential to us as a species continuing on. We need it to survive. But men have nipples, and male nipples don't really serve any purpose. The reason that men have nipples is because nipples are pre-programmed way early in development. And then it depends, is this fetus gonna turn into a woman? Because if it is, then all right, we're gonna have some breast tissue and we're gonna produce some milk. And oh, it's gonna turn into a man, just have a nipple. This relationship is really important to keep in mind when we move into the next topic, which would be the anatomy of the clitoris. What does it look like? So let's talk about the anatomy of the clitoris and let's compare it to a penis. The clitoris has an external portion, which I think is the part that everyone is very familiar with, and a huge internal portion, which we will get to in a second, but let's start externally. I tried to look for some good pictures of an external vulva and an external penis, and then an internal clitoris and an internal penis, and I couldn't find any good pictures, so I decided to make these things out of Play-Doh. So we're gonna start by looking at a vulva made by yours truly from Play-Doh. Play-Doh, do you want to sponsor this video? Just let me know. So here is my Play-Doh vulva. Let's start by naming the structures so that we're all very familiar with what we're looking at here. So the vagina has 2 sets of lips, an outer lip and an inner lip. That outer lip is depicted here in orange. That's called your labia majora, and then the smaller inner lip is depicted here in the white. That is labia minora. So we've got labia majora and labia minora. And if you were to spread the vaginal lips, if you were to spread labia majora and labia minora, you would reveal three different things. The first thing that you would reveal, I've made this red circle right here. That's supposed to be the vagina, and I mean the actual vaginal canal. So if you imagine this is a tube. If this were a vagina, we would move right through this tube, and behind it would be the uterus. So the vaginal canal connects to the uterus. When a mom is delivering a child, that baby is going to come out of the vagina. And if you are having heterosexual sex, then the vagina is where the penis goes during sex. But right above the vagina, depicted here in this little yellow circle, this is also a tube. This is your urethra. This is the tube that connects to the bladder. So when you urinate, when you go pee, that bladder is emptying urine through your urethra. That's where the pee's coming out of. And then right above the urethra, so it goes vaginal canal, urethra, then right here, this little purple circle that I've made, that is part of the clitoris. I think that's the part of the clitoris that we're all the most familiar with. This is the external portion of the clitoris. It's the only part of the clitoris that you can actually see, and it lives under a clitoral hood. So these labia minora, these inner lips, come and connect right above the clitoris here to create a clitoral hood. And the size and shape of the clitoral hood are gonna vary from person to person. So now let's pause here and compare this external vulva with an external penis and see what's going on. And here we have my Play-Doh penis that I made for us. This is an external penis. So men don't have vaginal lips, but they do have different types of skin. They have skin here, their scrotum skin, and then they have skin on the actual shaft of their penis or their penile skin. So that same skin that creates labia majora in women is the skin that creates the scrotum in men. And then the smaller vaginal lips, the labia minora, that skin is the same skin that creates the penile shaft or the penile skin in men. Here they are side by side just for reference again. Labia majora is that orange larger lip, makes the scrotum skin in men, and then the white inner lip, the labia minora, makes the penile skin in men. So men don't have a vaginal canal, but they do have a urethra, a tube that connects to their bladder. For men, that urethral tube actually lives inside of the penis itself. So all I could draw was kind of the tube coming out at the very end of the penis, at the head of the penis. Now, the head of the penis that I've created here in purple is the exact same tissue that makes the external clitoris. In fact, this is called the glans penis, and this is called the glans clitoris. So glans penis in men, glans clitoris in women, the exact same tissue. Then finally, in the same way that we talked about the two labia minora kind of coming together and making a connection to create the clitoral hood in women, that penile skin, that's the same skin as the labia minora in men, is what creates the foreskin. So if you've seen an uncircumcised penis, you know that there's skin that comes and protects the glans penis in the same way that the clitoral hood protects the glans clitoris. Same skin, same developmental tissue. Now on to the fun part, the internal clitoris, which is really, really big, you guys. It's huge. The glans clitoris, that external portion of the clitoris that most of us are more familiar with, that accounts for a fifth or maybe even less of the whole clitoris itself. To quote a 2015 Clinical Anatomy article, most of the components of the clitoris are buried under the skin and connective tissues of the vulva. It comprises an external glans and hood and an internal body, root, crura, and bulbs. Its overall size is 9 to 11 centimeters. 9 to 11 centimeters is 3.5 to 4.5 inches. It's a big organ. Okay, time for the internal clitoris made out of Play-Doh by yours truly. So just to orient you again, what we're looking at here is the internal portion of the clitoris, but what I've made sure to include is, again, here's that red circle. This is supposed to be the vaginal canal, the vagina, and here's that yellow circle, which is supposed to be the urethra, and then right here in purple, again, this is the glans clitoris. This is the external portion of the clitoris that we can all see. body. So if you can imagine in 3D, this external portion would be right here. And then if we were to remove the labia, the skin, the connective tissue, this is what we would see. So here is the glans clitoris, the external portion that we know, and that is connected right here to the clitoral body. Then that clitoral body splits in half to make the legs of the clitoris. And the legs of the clitoris actually have two different parts to them. Here, this is called the corpus cavernosum. And then the very, very end, which look a little bit more like legs, those are the crura. And then finally, we have these blue structures. These are the vestibular bulbs. The vestibular bulbs live both through and behind the labia, and they surround the urethra and the vagina. So again, you can kind of see those vestibular bulbs would live through and behind the labia, and you can tell that they surround the vaginal canal and the urethra. Now, the clitoral legs and the bulbs are made out of erectile tissue, which means that when the woman is excited, they swell with blood, just like a penis swells with blood when a man's excited. Okay, we're gonna pause here and compare the internal clitoris with an internal penis. So here is my Play-Doh internal penis, and just to orient you with the one landmark that we can see externally as well, here is the head of the penis, or the glans penis. But check it out, right here, this is the corpus cavernosum, which extends down into the crura. And right here, instead of a vestibular bulb, men have the bulb of penis. Really, the only major difference between an internal penis and an internal clitoris is that, as we said before, the urethra in men actually runs through the shaft of the penis, so we have this extra tissue right here called the corpus spongiosum, which houses the urethra as it runs through the shaft of the penis before it exits through the head. One more time, you guys. The purple is the glans penis, or the glans clitoris. The pink is the corpus cavernosum, which runs down into the crura, or it could be called the legs of the penis or the legs of the clitoris. And then in blue, we've got the vestibular bulbs, which surround the vaginal canal and the urethra in women, and we've got the bulb of penis in men. The corpus cavernosum and the bulbs, the blue and the pink tissue, are erectile tissue. These swell with blood when the man is excited, and they swell with blood when the woman is excited. And again, the only major difference being that the urethra in men actually runs through the shaft of the penis. So then we have this kind of bright yellow tissue called corpus spongiosum that protects the urethra. So I ask you again, is the penis just a really big clitoris, or is the clitoris just a really small penis? Up for debate. Get this, no one knew about the full clitoral anatomy until the 1990s. This is when researchers finally decided to study the excited clitoris using an MRI, which is something that had been used to study male anatomy dating back into the 70s. An even bigger statement on just how new this full understanding of clitoral anatomy is outlined well in this 2005 urology article. Typical textbook descriptions of the clitoris lack detail and include inaccuracies. It's impossible to convey clitoral anatomy in a single diagram showing only one plane, as is typically provided in textbooks, which reveal it as a flat structure. In fact, it wasn't until 2009 that the first 3D image of the internal clitoris was rendered. 2009, as in this information is less than 10 years old. And then in 2019, this beautiful 3D Play-Doh image was rendered. Another fun aside, there's pretty compelling evidence to show us that the G-spot doesn't actually exist as a separate entity, that it's just clitoral tissue, internal clitoral tissue. I would be happy to make a video all about the G-spot. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below. Let's move on to the final question. What is the function of the clitoris? Why does it exist? There are two common explanations for the function of the clitoris. We already talked about the penis and the clitoris being homologs, deriving from the same developmental tissue when we are little babies developing in our mom's uteruses. The big difference, though, is that the penis serves a crucial role in reproduction, male ejaculation. We can't reproduce without sperm, and the only way that sperm make their way to eggs for reproduction is if they're ejaculated through a penis into a vagina. Said another way, male ejaculation is crucial for sperm transfer. So one idea is that the clitoris and its ability to create an orgasm is a leftover byproduct of this homologous relationship, and it should be celebrated as an awesome bonus for women. Kind of like nipples for men. The other explanation focuses more on an evolutionary origin. We just talked about how male ejaculation is super important for reproduction because that's how sperm get to eggs. That's what we need for sperm transfer. Now, females ovulate, we release eggs. That's our half of creating a child. You need a sperm and an egg, sperm from men, egg from women, and women ovulate, which means we release eggs. Ovulation in humans is spontaneous, right? It's just a part of our cycle. Nothing has to happen to induce ovulation, we just ovulate. But here's the thing, in other animals, ovulation isn't spontaneous. In other animals, ovulation is induced by having sex. So it might be the case that the female orgasm used to be in place to induce ovulation, or said another way, the female orgasm was vital for egg transfer. Here is a quote from a 2016 study entitled "The Evolutionary Origin of Female Orgasm." "The female orgasm-like trait may have been adaptive, however for a different role, namely for inducing ovulation. With the evolution of spontaneous ovulation, orgasm was freed to gain secondary roles, which may explain its maintenance, but not its origin." So as far as we know, maybe this 2016 study is onto something. Maybe the female orgasm is around or left over from a time when we needed it in order to induce egg transfer. Or maybe it's just a bonus. Maybe because the penis and the clitoris are homologs and the penis needs to be able to orgasm in order to get sperm to an egg, the clitoris also orgasms, and it's just a bonus. Regardless of which idea is right, if either idea is right now, the only role, the only function of the clitoris that we know of is pleasure. I want to say that one more time. Women, you have an organ whose only role is to provide you sexual pleasure. At least that's the only role that we know of. Okay, I think that's enough for one video. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like this video, share this video. Again, this is information that I genuinely believe should be public knowledge. Let's make it public general knowledge. Feel free to comment any questions that you have or comment suggestions for other kinds of content that you want to see on this channel. I really try to read and respond to all of my comments. Be sure to check out my previous video all about the female orgasm, and again, if you have female genitalia and you want to answer that 3-question survey, that would be amazing. Finally, subscribe to my channel for more content surrounding pelvic health, and again, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.